with me is a question on trading profit and loss account and basic financial ratios, and I want us to tackle this question for our lesson today. It reads: Kiprop shop sells all its goods at a margin of 20% for the year ended 30th April 2010. The trading activities were as follows. You are given purchases, you are given sales, purchases 800,000, sales 950,000, net profit 5% of sales, then finally closing stock 200,000. You are asked, or you are required to calculate one, the gross profit, call it the GP, markup percentage, opening stock, and finally net profit or MP. So where do we start? First of all, ask yourself, do you know what is a margin? What is the margin? And how do we find the margin? When we are doing financial ratios or basic financial ratios, we came across a margin. We also came across markup. We did things like gross profit, net profit. You also know what is maybe closing stock, purchases and sales respectively. So margin, from this is where we shall start. Margin, you are given margin to be 20%. What comes to your mind? This one is simply 20 over 100, and as a fraction this will be actually 1 over 5. That is our margin. And the margin, you can still remember, margin is actually a ratio of gross profit all over sales. Gross profit over sales. So this will actually assist us to find. We use our margin. Now our margin as a fraction is 1 over 5. Our margin, which is normally given by gross profit all over sales. So 1 over 5 is given by GP over sales. Do we have our sales here? Yes, I can say our sales, which is 950,000. 950,000. So what do we need to find our GP? Multiplied by 950,000. That will cancel. Multiplied by 950,000. We multiply by 950 both sides. So we have 1 over 5 multiplied by 950,000 is equal to our GP. What is 1 over 5 over 950,000? You can press your calculators. I can see 190,000. I can see 190,000. This now is our gross profit. That one is our gross profit. That one is our gross profit. Our second part, markup percentage. Markup percentage. Markup. We will derive our markup from the margin. You can still remember the other time. Because margin is given by GP over sales, markup was given by gross profit, a fraction of gross profit, all over the cost of goods sold. In other words, the cost of sales. Cost of sales. So we want a percentage there. To just go through a shorter way, you can still remember, these two things relate. They actually have a very close relationship. This one shows a ratio or a fraction of gross profit over sales. This one shows a ratio of gross profit all over the cost of goods. In other words, GP all over selling price. This one is GP all over the buying price. To go to our question, so here we know our margin. We know our margin is 1 over 5. So to relate, here you realize that the gross profit is 1. And the sales is normally given by cost of goods sold or the buying price plus gross profit. So here we have our markup to be 1 over 5 minus 1. And this will be 1 over 4. You can still remember when I was when we were dealing about this, we say that given that markup is equal to 1 over A, then margin will be equal to 1 over A plus 1. 1 over A plus 1. And that is actually the relationship between markup and margin. Our next part, opening stock. Opening stock. Now we need to ask ourselves several things here before we calculate what our opening stock is. We know very well that we should first of all calculate the cost of goods sold. So what is our opening stock? When we are doing trading, or not the trading, but profit and loss account, you remember that trading profit and loss account, you know the format whereby we start with opening stock, we add the purchases, we less closing stock, then we have our cost of goods sold. But before that, what else can we be able to get from our equation here? Our markup is 1 over 4. This markup will actually assist us to get cost of goods sold or cost of sales. So markup, before we do markup, which is 1 over 4, is given by gross profit all over cost of goods sold. In other words, cost of sales. So 1 over 4 is equal to GP, and our GP is 190,000 all over cost of goods sold, which we don't know, and it is much important for us to calculate cost of goods sold so that we can get the others. So here we can maybe multiply both sides by cost of goods sold by cost of goods sold. That will cancel. We'll remain back with cost of goods sold, cost over 4 is equal to 190,000 by 4, both sides by 4. 190,000 by 4. 190,000 you multiply by 4, whereby we'll have 760,000. 760,000. That is our cost of goods sold. So from that part, our cost of goods sold is 760,000. But we are not there. We are calculating opening stock. So our opening stock will be given by, we know very well that gross profit is given by sales minus cost of goods sold. Sales minus cost of goods sold. We also know that cost of goods sold is normally given by opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. Assuming that we don't have any adjustment, this is what gives us the cost of goods sold. So we have our gross profit. We all know that our gross profit is 190,000, which will be given by sales. What is our sales? Our sales was 950,000. We subtract cost of goods sold, and our cost of goods sold is opening stock, which I will take it as X. I add purchases. 800,000. Then I subtract closing stock 200,000. This will be 190,000 is equal to 950,000 minus X, a negative and a positive, minus 800,000, then a negative and a negative plus 200,000. This will be 190,000 is equal to 950,000 we subtract 950 minus 800, we will get 150. 150, then we add 200, we will get 250, 350, sorry. We'll have 350 minus x. We take x across the other side, so we'll have, when we take this negative x across the equal side, we'll have it to be x is equal to 350,000. We take this across the other side, minus 190,000. What is our x? 350,000 minus 190, and press your calculators. 350,000 minus 190, and we are getting 160,000. So our opening stock, which is x, is 160,000. Opening stock, which is x, is 160,000. Correct. Finally, net profit. Net profit. Net profit. From our question, we are given that net profit is 5% of sales. So in other words, we simply have our 5% of sales. This one simply means 5%. 5% in a fraction 500 multiplied by 950,000. That goes. So you can now multiply 5 multiplied by 9,500. 5 multiplied by 9,500, and we are able to get 47,500. This is our net profit. Net profit is equal to 47,500. Correct. That is how best you can tackle that question and have your marks. That marks the end of our lesson. Have a good day.